rabbi is busy.
He didn't look busy.
He's thinking.
His delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Psalm 1:2. That the psalmist may show how much the godly man is habituated to this blessed work of meditation, he subjoins, "In his law does he meditate day and night." Not but that there may be sometimes intermission. God allows time for our calling. He grants some relaxation. But when it is said, the godly man meditates day and night, the meaning is frequently, he is much conversant in the duty. It is a command of God to pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. The meaning is not that we should be always praying, but that we should every day set some time apart for prayer. We read in the Old Law it was called the continual sacrifice. Numbers 28:24, not that the people of Israel did nothing else but sacrifice, but because they had their stated hours, every morning and evening they offered. Therefore it was called the continual sacrifice. Thus the godly man is said to meditate day and night. That is, he is often at this work. He is no stranger to meditation. The proposition that results out of the text is this, that a godly Christian is a meditating Christian. Psalm 119:15, I will meditate in your precepts. 1 Timothy 4:15, meditate upon these things. Meditation is the chewing upon the truths we have heard. The beasts in the old law, which did not chew the cud, were unclean. The professor who does not by meditation chew the cud is to be accounted unclean. Meditation is like the watering of the seed. It makes the fruits of grace to flourish. Showing the nature of meditation. If it be inquired what meditation is, I answer. Meditation is the soul's retiring of itself, that by a serious and solemn thinking upon God, the heart may be raised up to heavenly affections. This description has three branches. Meditation is the soul's retiring of itself. A Christian, when he goes to meditate, must lock up himself from the world. The world spoils meditation. Christ went by himself into the mountainside to pray, Matthew 14:23. So go into a solitary place when you are to meditate. Isaac went out to meditate in the field, Genesis 24:63. He sequestered and retired himself that he might take a walk with God by meditation. Zacchaeus had a mind to see Christ, and he got out of the crowd. He ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him. So, when we would see God, we must get out of the crowd of worldly business. We must climb up into the tree by retiredness of meditation, and there we shall have the best prospect of heaven. The world's music will either play us asleep or distract us in our meditations. When a mote has gotten into the eye, it hinders the sight. Just so, when worldly thoughts, as motes, are gotten into the mind, which is the eye of the soul, it cannot look up so steadfastly to heaven by contemplation. Therefore, as when Abraham went to sacrifice, he left his servant and the donkey at the bottom of the hill. So when a Christian is going up the hill of meditation, he should leave all secular cares at the bottom of the hill, that he may be alone and take a turn in heaven. If the wings of the bird are full of slime, she cannot fly. Meditation is the wing of the soul. When a Christian is beslimed with earth, he cannot fly to God upon this wing. When you are going up the mount of meditation, take heed that the world does not follow you and throw you down from the top of this pinnacle. This is the first thing, the soul's retiring of itself, lock and bolt the door against the world. 2. The second thing in meditation is a serious and solemn thinking upon God. The Hebrew word to meditate signifies with intenseness to recollect and gather together the thoughts. Meditation is not a cursory work, to have a few transient thoughts of religion, like the dogs of Nelis that lap and then run away, but there must be in meditation a fixing the heart upon the object, a steeping the thoughts. Carnal professors have their thoughts roving up and down and will not fix on God, like the bird that hops from one branch to another and stays in no one place. David was a man fit to meditate. "O God, my heart is fixed." Psalm 108:1. In meditation, there must be a staying of the thoughts upon the object. A man who rides quickly through a town or village, he minds nothing. But an artist who is looking on a curious piece views the whole portraiture of it. He observes the symmetry and proportion. He minds every shadow and color. A carnal, flitting professor is like the traveler. His thoughts ride hastily. He minds nothing of God. A wise Christian is like the artist. He views with seriousness and ponders the things of religion. Luke 2:19. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. 3. The third thing in meditation is the raising of the heart to holy affections. A Christian enters into meditation as a man enters into the hospital, that he may be healed. Meditation heals the soul of its deadness and earthliness. The same God who has bid us believe has bid us meditate. Joshua 1:8. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night. These words, though spoken to the person of Joshua, yet they concern everyone, as the promise made to Joshua concerned all believers. Joshua 1:5, compared with Hebrews 13:5. So this precept made to the person of Joshua, "You shall meditate in this book of the law," takes in all Christians. Meditation is a duty opposed. We may conclude it is a good duty because it is against the stream of corrupt nature. We shall find naturally a strange averseness from meditation. We are swift to hear, but slow to meditate. To think of the world, if it were all day long, is delightful. But as for holy meditation, how does the heart wrangle and quarrel with this duty? Now truly, there needs no other reason to prove a duty to be good than the reluctancy of a carnal heart. God provides the food, ministers can but cook and dress it for you, but it must be inwardly digested by meditation. For lack of this, you may cry out with the prophet, Isaiah 24:16, my leanness, woe unto me. Oh, let me persuade such as fear God seriously to set upon this duty. If you have formerly neglected it, bewail your neglect, and now begin to make conscience of it. Lock up yourselves with God at least once a day by holy meditation. Ascend this hill, and when you have gotten to the top of it, you shall see a fair prospect, Christ and heaven before you. Oh, that I might invite Christians to this rare duty. Why is it that you do not meditate in God's law? Let me expostulate the case with you. What is the reason? Methinks I hear some say, we are indeed convinced of the necessity of the duty, but alas, there are many things that hinder. There are two great objections that lie in the way. I shall remove them, and then hope the better to persuade to this duty. Objection 1. I have so much business in the world that I have no time to meditate. Answer. The world indeed is a great enemy to meditation. It is easy to lose one's purse in a crowd, and in a crowd of worldly employments, it is easy to lose all the thoughts of God. So long as the heart is an exchange, I do not expect that it should be a temple. But to answer the objection, have you so much business that you have no time for meditation, as if piety were a minor matter, a thing fit only for idle hours? What? No time to meditate? What is the business of your life but meditation? God never sent us into the world to get riches. I speak not against labor in a vocation, but I say this is not the end of our existence. The errand God sent us into the world about is salvation. And that we may attain the end, we must use the means, namely holy meditation. Now, have you no time to meditate? Just as if a farmer should say that he has so much business, that he has no time to plow or sow. Why, what is his occupation but plowing and sowing? What a madness is it to hear Christians say they have no time to meditate. What is the business of their lives but meditation? Oh, take heed, lest by growing rich you grow worth nothing at last. Take heed that God does not sue out the statute of bankruptcy against you, and you be disgraced before men and angels. No time for meditation. You shall observe that others in former ages have had as much business as you and public affairs to look after, yet they were called upon to meditate. Joshua 1:8. You shall meditate in this book of the law. Joshua might have pleaded an excuse. He was a soldier, a commander, and the care of marshaling his army lay chiefly upon him. Yet this must not take him off from piety. Joshua must meditate in the book of God's law. God never intended that the great business of piety should give way to a shop or farm, or that a particular vocation should jostle out the general duty to holiness. 2. Objection. But this duty of meditation is hard. To set time apart every day to get the heart into a meditating frame is very difficult. Gerson reports of himself that he was sometimes 3 or 4 hours before he could work his heart into a spiritual frame. Answer. Does this hinder? To this I shall give a threefold reply. 1. The price that God has set heaven at is labor. Our salvation cost Christ's blood. It may well cost us sweat. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence. Matthew 11:12. It is as a garrison which holds out, and the duties of religion are the taking it by storm. A godly Christian must offer violence to himself, though not natural self, yet sinful self. Self is nothing but the flesh. The flesh cries out for ease. It is a libertine. It is reluctant to take pains, reluctant to pray, to repent. It is reluctant to put its neck under Christ's yoke. Now a Christian must hate himself. No man ever yet hated his own flesh. Ephesians 5:29. Yes, in this sense, he must hate his own flesh. The lusts of the flesh. Romans 8:13. He must offer violence to himself by mortification and meditation. 2. We do not argue so in other things. Riches are hard to come by. Therefore I will sit still and be without them. No, difficulty is the whetstone of industry. How will men venture for gold? And shall we not spend and be spent for that which is more precious than the gold of Ophir? By meditation we suck out the quintessence of a promise. 3. Though while we are first entering upon meditation it may seem hard, yet when once we are entered it is sweet and pleasant. Christ's yoke at the first putting on may seem heavy, but when once it is on, it becomes easy. It is not a yoke, but a crown. Lord, says Austin, the more I meditate on you, the sweeter you are to me. According to holy David, my meditation on you shall be sweet. Psalm 104:34. The poets say the top of Olympus was always quiet and serene. Just so, it is hard climbing up the rocky hill of meditation. But when we are got up to the top, there is a pleasant prospect, and we shall sometimes think ourselves even in heaven. By holy meditation, the soul does, as it were, breakfast with God every morning. When a Christian is upon the mount of meditation, he is like Peter on the mount when Christ was transfigured, Matthew 17. He cries out, Lord, it is good to be here. He is reluctant to go down the mount again. If you come to him and tell him of a purchase, he thinks you bid him to his loss. What hidden manna does the soul taste now that it is on the mount? How sweet are the visits of God's Spirit! When Christ was alone in the wilderness, then the angel came to comfort him. When the soul is alone in holy meditation and prayer, then not an angel, but God's own Spirit does come to comfort him. A Christian who meets with God in the mount would not exchange his hours of meditation for the most orient pearls or sparkling beauties that the world can afford. No wonder David spent the whole day in meditation, Psalm 119:97. Nay, as if the day had been too little, he borrows a part of the night too, Psalm 63:6, when I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the night watches. When others were sleeping, David was meditating. He who is given much to meditation shall with Samson find a honeycomb in this duty. Therefore let not the difficulty discourage. The pleasantness will infinitely countervail the pains.